All right, so on to some music. Since we're GuitarsOK, we're streaming from Tulsa, right? All right, so Homer, everybody knows your guitars?
Yep.
My man out there. So Homer, guitar effects are a big part of our deal. So let's talk about for a few minutes here. What's your favorite guitar pedal?
Okay, I sent you a picture.
And I'll
of it.
insert a picture.
Yeah. I would say it's actually really tough. Like if I would say it's probably my time factor, my Eventide, and it's mainly because, I mean, the delays sound awesome. You know, they sound great, but also you'll notice from the picture it's got how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11 knobs. 11 knobs on the thing. But you can mix and blend two different delays at the same time, and so you'll have one going off as a quarter and one as like a dotted, and so you can really get that edge type effect with the
edge
delay.
being U2.
Yeah,
U2 edge. Yeah.
And I played at so many churches through my day. I probably played more at churches than I played anywhere else, really.
Right.
So, I mean, you gotta have a delay pedal to play at church.
And you like the what do you call it? I want to say staggered, but it's stacking like delays, right?
Yeah.
So stacking delays is what Homer's talking about. So we got a lot of fans, a lot of people watch who don't play guitar actually, who have been learning a lot, and that's been cool getting some comments. So leave us feedback if you've been liking everything we're talking about and learning from it. We appreciate it. Or if you have questions about this pedal, you can leave it in the comments or let us know. Homer can get back to you with settings or something, right?
Yeah.
And we can even do a pedal, maybe even next week or two, we can even have you do a little pedal, performance with it.
Demo or something, yeah.
Yeah. So
now,
talk about stacking delays. Like, why is that important to you?
Well, to me, it adds so much texture and layers. And you don't, because this pedal board, I primarily play with it at churches. I quit taking it out to the clubs and stuff, mainly because it's so big, and we'll get onto that in another episode or so. But yeah, I quit taking it out, so I haven't gotten to play it since I played at Transformation Church last, and that was 2 years ago, really. So I've got it in my room. I started playing around with it again, and man, it's so good. Now, here's the negative about it.
Okay.
And a lot of the guitar players that I know that have tried it, and I'll be 100% honest with you, because it's literally been a couple years since I've really messed around with it. I would need to go back and read the instruction book on how to program the thing, because most of my friends who bought it got rid of it after a month and a half, 2 months of owning it, because it was too difficult for them to get used to programming. So I get it, because obviously I've forgotten how to do it myself, but I would just have to pull up the instruction manual. It's not terrible. It really wasn't that hard to get to understand how to program it. But yeah, stacking them, you just get so much. It adds such a nice texture to it, and I wouldn't say dynamics, but just another layer, because you've got one going off at either an eighth or a quarter, and then I use for the edge stuff, it's a dotted eighth note delay. But you pair that with the quarter note, and they fight, and so it adds all these kind of a jangly, warbly feel to it. So I really like that. Now,
and that's an amazing thing.
Oh yeah, it's great. I would say, if overall, probably like that pedal, my blues driver that's Keeley modded is literally, I would put that on any pedal board. Like, it's great. It's so good. I would, at some point, I'd like to be able to go by Keeley's place, because he's here in Oklahoma
City area. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
I've actually got a few comments back and forth with him on different sites I'm on Facebook. So and that's where mine comes in. So speaking of Keeley, so you encouraged me to get the blues driver, right?
Right.
And I don't have the modded one, so I just have the regular blues driver. And I just added that to my board, and that's fantastic. For me, my favorite effect overall has been like reverb, but you can get reverb through amps, like my twin reverb. So that doesn't count. So for me, my pedal is the Keeley, Andy Timmons Halo. So the Halo. So just like you, the Halo with your option, the Halo's got a lot of different options.
Yeah.
So, and there's just one that I use a lot, and that's the Andy Timmons, the Andy Timmons setting. Excuse me, I'm not feeling like it right now. So, okay, but yeah, so what the Andy Timmons setting does is, and you can change these different knobs here if you're falling out of place so that you can get it right back into his setting, or you can just click this button. But what the Andy Timmons Halo does is it does have like a reverb sound to it, but it is like a stacked delay. And so the Keeley and them tweaked it enough that's why they call it a Halo, because the note is clear and it goes out and it does this like stacked delay thing that almost sounds like a reverb.
Yeah. Okay.
So you get a stacked delay, but it tricks people into thinking that it's a heavy reverb almost.
Okay, so it's almost like a echoey, boomy type effect.
That's why it's the Halo. That's why it's called the Echo. You're right.
Okay.
So that's where the Halo comes from. It's not just a cool name. The Halo name actually comes from the sound that it gives. So as you're playing your notes, you're picking out your notes, it's giving this halo. And one other effect on this that I've really found great right now for playing in churches too, and I could use it live. So if we do the 5K coming up, the Clare House 5K, if I'm set to this pedal and it's lit up for Andy Timmons' side, if I just play a chord, for example, and I just hold down the other side with my foot, it takes that whole chord. As long as I hold this down, it starts to just halo the chord or that note that I hit it on. So it becomes almost like a freeze. So you know what the freeze is, right? So I use the freeze when I use my ME80 sometimes. So I'll hit a D chord, hit the freeze pedal, right? And then it just takes that D chord and just freezes it, right?
Okay.
Right? You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
You use the freeze out. Yeah. So then I start playing over top of that like an intro into something, and then I drop the freeze out. Well, this is similar in the sense that I can hit a D chord, for example, and so just hold that down. As long as I'm holding that down, it doesn't just freeze it, but it also does a halo thing to it too.
Can you play over the top of it?
Yep. And then correct. So then as you hold that down, just like the freeze option on other effects, this you're holding it down, and I'm playing like say a D chord, it's making that D major chord just do this halo thing, and then I'm doing my whole finger picking to like an intro, and then I slowly let off, and then if I hit just a note, I hit it again, and then it'll ring out that note. You know what I mean? Well, so anyways, cool. It's really cool.
Is it almost like a sustainer almost?
Yeah, a sustainer. Yes, I would probably call it a sustainer more than a freeze, because the sustain actually that carries it out. But it's adding that halo effect to it. So, and what's crazy about it is, think about throwing a pebble in a pond, and you see the ripples start to go out.
Yep.
Well, whatever note you're doing or chord, when you push down on that and you hit the chord and you push down on that, it starts to make the whole chord. It starts to get like almost out of control at a certain point. Like it can get like pretty loud even and stuff. But it's still doing like this halo-y thing. Man, it's so cool. This is the coolest pedal I've ever come across in my life right now.
That's awesome.
It's a game changer. It's a game changer. It's staying on my board.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I gotta get in a situation to where I actually, because I've been in the situation I've been in with guitar, like going and playing the little clubs and stuff. I've just got a little small pedal board that I take.
Right.
It's literally like that.
And I'll actually insert the picture right here, because I have a picture of you, because it's the same board you've been using, the one that I've posted about on some of our shorts and stuff.
Yeah, and I had one of my buddies make me that. His name's Kenny Williamson. He had a company here in town named Gruber. Like McGruber, you remember that skit from, I think it was Saturday Night Live? He was like some guy who could fix anything, or he was like MacGyver, but
MacGyver, yeah.
MacGruber.
MacGruber, there you go.
Anyway, so he had a company, and he made pedal boards, and he made he repackaged amps and stuff. But he made me that pedal board for when I was touring a lot, and kept getting gigs where I was in like San Diego, and I was in Florida, and all these kind of places. And so it's little, and I could just bring it in a little bag that he had laying around that it fits perfectly. He made it for that, and so I could take it on airplanes. So.
And tell everybody what's on that off the top of your head. Do you remember? Because I know you got the Helix, I think. Right? You have a stomp.
Yeah, I've got the Helix, which is basically my amp now.
Right.
That's really all I use it for. And that actually isn't on the pedal board. I put that up beside it. And I've got a RMC wah. It's a blue and white RMC wah. You can go in there and change some dip switches and stuff like that, and dial in your tone a little bit better. I really like that pedal. And then I've got my little bitty tuner. I can't even remember the name of that little bitty tuner, but it's a pretty nice little tuner. And what else have I got on there? I've got the wah, the tuner, and I don't have a delay on there. I did have a delay on there. I took that off and put the wah on there. And then my BB, which is the distortion. It's a little more aggressive than the Blues Driver. To be 100% honest with you, that pedal board, I originally put my second tier pedals on there. Like my first tier pedals, my favorite pedals, all went on my church pedal board, because that was where I worked the most, was at church.
Right.
So I would put my kind of cast off ones. The BB was my cast off. The Blues Driver is my favorite
nice
overdrive pedal. And then the RMC wah I actually took off of my church pedal board and put that on the one, because basically I haven't played as much at churches in the last couple of years, with it starting in COVID. Everything was shut down, so you couldn't. I actually had more gigs out of church that year than I did at church.
Right.
But so then I neglected to play all my favorite pedals. so I've had to intermingle them, and the delay pedal is just too big. It's almost as big as the pedal board.
It's kind of funny because now there's a big push that these regular size pedals are actually too big now, so they're going to all the minis, like the Tube Screamer minis, and all endless amount of minis now. Yeah. And you can do the minis, so the bigger ones, like all your Strymons. Remember the Line 6s, all the green, the delays, and all, they were cool, but man, the pedal size got a little big for the boards and stuff. And so going to a normal, what I call normal stomp box size, right, whatever you want to call it, is nice. But the minis have been coming in pretty good too, man. And I gotta try some of these new minis. I don't know, man. I saw an article with Billy Gibbons is addicted to ordering all them pedals off of Amazon, all these different no-name brands.
Yeah,
he's buying all these cheap ones, but he's Billy Gibbons, so I'm sure.
I mean, I know people who still like I remember they had those sound tank ones that I think Ibanez made those sound tanks. They were like black,
maybe
plasticky black guys.
Oh yeah.
And they weren't really. I never really found one that I liked the sound of. Those weren't that great, but that's I know people who have used that DS1, that cheap distortion pedal, that orange one that everybody has had, it seems like, but I never could get a great sound out of that thing. But I know people that have toured and used those guys, so
that's one of the funniest things, man. If you ever anybody out there, if you ever want to get your guitar guy talking, if you're at a gig somewhere and you walk up to the band, you say hello, I mean, most guitar guys don't really want to hear all the time like, oh, what's your favorite band or something, or what's your influences. I mean, that but if you walk up to a guitar guy, you go, hey, what's that pedal down there? Like, yeah, all of a sudden they like light a switch, right? And they're like, oh, that pedal, this one down here, yeah, that's an MXR, that's a, and so like anybody out there, just a little side note, if you really want to get a guitarist's attention, just ask them about their effects pedals and stuff, because most guitar guys will start talking about, more than about themselves. They'll be like, oh, my gear, oh yeah, my gear, because we all have gas, right? You know what gas is, right?
Well, what do you mean? Like,
it's gear acquisition syndrome.
Oh yeah.
So we all have gas, right? So we all want these different pedals, and we all want different amps, and we always want, and it's that gear acquisition syndrome gas so we all have gas, don't we? I mean, you go through different runs where you want certain things, right?
Oh yeah. I've sold so many pedals and so many amps and so many guitars that and some of them I really regret selling. But,
right.
I mean, it is what it is. There was a couple Les Pauls that I shouldn't have sold.
Right.
I can't think. Pedals, they're easier to replace than a Les Paul or something like that. Oh, and there was a couple Strats that I shouldn't have let go.
Ooh, we might have to have a counseling session and have to bear this out and give you some grief counseling to get over this, Homer. So
yes, exactly.
Pretty funny. I love it. All right, Homer. So tonight's takeaway is that all of us guitar guys we love our sound, right? Our tone. And we have our favorite toys. And for like me, this is my newer one, but I'm identifying with it. It's become part of my voicing, my sound. So I'm hoping it might stay for a while, but I always reserve the right to change that out, right?
Oh yeah. It's an important part of the family once you put Velcro on the back of it and glue it on there.
And I still gotta get a board for my new rig and everything. So otherwise I was using my ME80, the multi-effects thing, which I didn't need Velcro for that, but I'm getting way better sounds out of all these. So with that being said, reiterate, what was your favorite one again? What was the one you showed?
Eventide Time Factor.
Yeah, and we make no money on this, so we're not. So if you go on Sweetwater, if you go on Reverb or something, check them out. But I'll post pictures and all that kind of stuff. And then what we'll have to do then, being as how we brought these up, is we'll have to make a couple shorts now. You have to send me a video of like going through some of the sounds on it, and I can label it and we'll post it for everybody. How's that sound?
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, we'll get that going. So, all right, Homer, ready to wrap this up, buddy?
Yeah, man.
You ready for another rainy night? Wasn't that old Queensryche song?
Oh, dude, I loved Queensryche. Queensryche was so good.
Another. I can't even say that guy. Just another.
Yeah, Jeff Tate. He's so good. Operation Mindcrime. That was one of my favorite albums of all time.
Oh my gosh, and they've been in lawsuits forever against each other, that whole band. So.
Oh, geez.
Terrible. Yeah, it's terrible. But we're not in a lawsuit, right? We're on the same page, brother.
Right.
So, all right. So we're gonna sign off here. Stay on the. And subscribe and the polls on the action. And so everybody, you got a taste of what's coming next week. The best debut album, either it was Van Halen 1 or Appetite for Destruction. So get on there and get your votes going, right, Homer?
Vote.
All right. Peace out, everybody.
Later, guys.